Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad, your best place for weekly content on young American soccer players playing overseas. My name is Austin.
And my name is Patrick.
And guys, welcome to our show. Well, guys, thanks for being back this weekend. And Pat, another week, another trophy.
Yeah, it seems like all we do is win here. Obviously, a few losses sprinkled in. We'll get into that later. But a lot of success over this past weekend, Austin. I'm pumped about it.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch. You know, just to list it off, you had Reyna winning the DFB Pokal. You had Brenden Aaronson on Wednesday winning the Austria League. And then, you also had another player, Jordan Siebatcheu, winning the Swiss League this weekend, or at least wrapping it up. So, a lot of trophies just to add to the list. You know, we had Mark McKenzie, Weston McKennie win a trophy so far this season, Serginho Dest. I feel like there's other ones too that I'm just forgetting right now, but definitely trophy season, Pat.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, and I think that's great to see all the boys over in Europe just killing it, winning some trophies, and heading into that summer. I won't repeat my phrase from a few episodes back. You'll have to watch that. But I guess shifting gears here, Austin, American coming on a little bit too late to help save his team from another Cup final loss here.
Yeah, and also today we have two YAAs performing well, even in the face of relegation.
And finally, several more YAAs, like we mentioned, winning trophies this weekend. So all that and more in today's episode. All right, guys, and to start off today's episode, we're heading over to England with Christian Pulisic, Austin. A lot to talk about with Chelsea. It just seems like they went from up here to down really quick. It's amazing how football can kind of turn and form can dip and go up. But, starting back with the Arsenal loss, that was certainly tough with the Premier League top four race tightening up here as we go to end the season. Christian did start that game. I think he played the full 90 there, but just an unfortunate loss there. And then most recently, we'll talk about this a little bit more, is that tough loss to Leicester, heartbreaking 1-0 loss in the FA Cup finals. So Christian did sub on in the 68th minute, a little bit too late to really make an impact as Chelsea fell there. So Tielemans had a pretty incredible strike, I think, a few minutes before that. But again, when you come on sometimes in that time frame, it's a lot of time wasting, other antics going on, so you really can't get a great flow. But you did see Christian surge forward a few times off that right flank and centrally. Cho had a few combinations with, and I think he was involved pretty heavily on that build-up play with Chilwell, where he had that header, and I think Schmeichel might have tipped it or went off the post there. Again, Schmeichel had an incredible game nonetheless. But just kind of tough to see, Austin. And a lot of talk was Tuchel in the Arsenal, now this loss, maybe overthinking his tactics and getting some of that wrong.
Yeah, it was a simple tactical mistake on Saturday, and that was not starting Christian Pulisic.
Right.
No, I mean, I feel like just from what I heard and what I saw briefly in the first half, Chelsea just didn't really come out strong, and it seemed like Leicester kind of just capitalized on that and really just took that belief right from the start of the game that they could win it, and just carried that on, especially once Tielemans scored that amazing long shot of a goal. That's definitely something that your team can rally around. So yeah, it's just really disappointing. Chelsea were in the FA Cup final and also the Champions League final. You thought going into this game that they held the upper hand and that this was going to be a pretty favorable matchup for Chelsea, and that they were going to be able to at least get one piece of silverware this season. So not getting that, and then also just not performing well. I guess getting robbed in the end. That was a pretty close VAR call, but nonetheless, though, you can't set yourself up to rely on a call going your way at the end of the game. It's just really disappointing.
That's a good point, and I can't believe I overlooked that from the first part here about VAR. I mean, we could talk about that in debate, but I think you brought up a really good point. I mean, there were so many other factors in that game where you could have. I mean, they had a lot of chances there too at the end, but something about Leicester and Vardy, they have that magic when they're in form. They're having a very good season. I think they're third right now, and then Chelsea's fourth in the standings. So it's tough to overcome, but nonetheless, it's kind of crazy to think about, Austin, just because. Yeah, last week or 2 weeks ago, Chelsea, everyone's like, oh yeah, like look at this, beating Madrid and this and that. They're doing well. They got the FA Cup final. This quick dip of form is kind of concerning, just because now you're in crunch time, and there's a potential where you might not win any any trophies or anything there, and if they lose to Man City and then don't finish, there's a chance they might not even finish in the top four, and miss out on the Champions League as a whole, which is pretty unreal to think about. I don't want to think that mindset and get too dark here, but just something to keep in the back of your mind. But I'm hoping that Christian can kind of help be a difference maker. They do have a really crucial game. We're filming this on Monday, Tuesday, May 18th against Leicester. That will be huge with Liverpool breathing down their necks. So it's really tightening up in the race there as well.
I was going to say, Pat, you really kind of want Chelsea to lose, right? You want Liverpool to climb back up there and, sit right in that Champions League spot. But no, I understand what you're saying. Seeing Christian Pulisic not in the Champions League next year would be a big blow, especially if, Juventus don't make it to the Champions League and you got Weston and him playing in Europa League next year. It's just going to feel weird and kind of like a step back from this season. So I completely get that, Pat. It's kind of rough.
Yeah, it's tough. Ultimate scenario, Leicester just somehow tanks there. Liverpool scoops up and Chelsea is able to survive. Get Leicester out of there, but I don't think that scenario it's very slim. But Austin, we got, I think, May 29th Champions League final. And I think just with the downturn in form, I'm curious to kind of see what Tuchel's mindset will be. I don't know as much maybe about historically how he's been under these crunch situations end of season with big games and how he rotates lineups or tinkers or plays it safe, but something definitely needs to change, and I think Christian is that X factor.
Yeah, I honestly think this loss in the FA Cup and with Christian not starting, it bodes well for his chances to start in the Champions League final. I think he's got to put in a good performance in these last two Premier League games against Leicester and Aston Villa, and if he can do that and show the difference maker that Chelsea have kind of been missing recently, then I think starting in the Champions League final is something that we'll see. And I honestly think that even though Thomas Tuchel's not been prone to start Christian recently, I do think that he's going to kind of take this game in a different manner and really just like put all his cards out on the table right from the start. And I think he likes Christian coming on so late because it changes, the dynamic of the game. But I think when you're going up against a team like Man City, you really have to have your best players on the field for the entire 90 minutes. So I just think when it's all said and done, Christian Pulisic is going to start that Champions League final, and things will be right in the world, and hopefully we'll see him lift the trophy too.
Yeah, and usually I'm the more optimistic one. I'm a little bit hesitant, but at the same time, I really like that point. I want that to happen, Austin, just because, like you said, all the cards on the table, the biggest game of his managerial career there for Chelsea. You're coming into this situation, they're off of dip of form right now. But if it shows so much, everyone will kind of forget about the past drama and this and that, the interviews, Pulisic having to kind of prove himself there. If he starts that final, that's way bigger than anything else in the past, and all will be kind of forgotten there.
Yeah, and one final point, Pat. This is redemption for Thomas Tuchel, too. He lost it last year with PSG, got to the final, did an amazing job, and just came up short in that final against, honestly, the superior team in Bayern Munich. I think there's going to be a chip on his shoulder, especially losing this FA Cup final, to kind of get those decisions right in terms of personnel. And I think he's going to go with Christian. So, because we'll just have to wait and see. We have a whole nother week to kind of fantasize about that and see what things change after the games this week. But
mark your calendars for that May 29th, Austin.
It's a big day. Yeah, I'll be in front of a TV any way I can. So, I think moving on now, we want to talk about Matt Hoppe. So Matt had an awesome game, and I guess I should say, Pat, before this game, was nominated for Bundesliga Rookie of the Season. So there were some big, high-profile names on that list, including players like Jamal Musiala from Bayern Munich, who have had a fantastic season. So I thought it was really cool to see him be one of those players that's been recognized. Even if he doesn't win the award, I still think it's cool to be recognized for that and in that group of players. But going into the game, he was on the bench this weekend for Schalke, was subbed on and actually scored a goal for them and had an assist in a 4-3 win for them over Eintracht Frankfurt. So, Schalke have already been relegated from the Bundesliga. They're not really playing for much but pride at the moment. And boy, did they come out in this game, Pat, and kind of just, played without inhibition. And Matt came on the field, looked really good from the highlights I saw. I wasn't able to watch this game live, unfortunately, but going back and watching, some of the plays from his highlight video, he looked really comfortable on the field, which we've seen most of the season, even though Schalke aren't playing so well. And just was someone that was dynamic and really made a difference on the day. And, that difference showed with him scoring that great goal on the counter and then also setting up, his teammate earlier on in the game. So, with this, Pat, I believe that brings his goal tally to six goals this season. This was his first goal since January. So he's had, a little bit of a lull, throughout the season. But he's Schalke's leading goal scorer, I believe, at the moment. So, there is something to say about that. And obviously 3 goals came in one game. But I thought that was really cool. And it's like a good way to finish the season in my mind for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And playing without inhibition, I like that too. Maybe, and also, like you said, pride and not being, berated by the Schalke supporters there. So, any kind of good performances there, I think, key for Matt there. But like you mentioned, somebody that, just with how difficult it is to get back up from relegation, sees those moments in the Bundesliga, the top flight against the Eintracht team, very pretty solid team usually, and you're making you're playing against the highest level in Germany, and I think that's all Matt can do in this situation. Just seize the moment. You get more eyes on you while you can at the top flight, and hope that they can return there one day because we were talking off camera, but with the Hanover situation and things like that. Not a terrible place, I think, just at Matt's level to grow and develop if he gets the game time and he's putting up numbers and statistics in the 2 Bundesliga. I mean, we've seen a few of our players, do pretty well there, and it's still a pretty decent league. So I don't think it's a horrible place. I'm just hoping, that toxic environment can kind of, go away and they can restart fresh in the second division.
Yeah, and I think he's really going to get minutes next season. I'm just curious to see where that is on the field for him. We've seen him out wide at times. We've seen him obviously play as a striker. Growing up, he played more as a cam or center forward. So he's definitely versatile. And Schalke just signed Simon Terodde, who's a perennial 2 Bundesliga goal scorer of the year for multiple clubs like Köln and several others. So they're really trying to set themselves up well for next year to kind of bounce back quick. So you got to think he's going to be the main striker that they go with. So I'll just be interested to see kind of what formation they play him in. Again, I think he's going to get minutes. It's just going to be up to him to keep focused amongst all the drama that's going to go on next year with them playing down. I'm sure they'll have a lot of financial struggles this offseason, and they'll try and figure things out. And I think the club's committed to keeping Matt. Matt signed a contract extension with them. So I think you'll see him in the 2 Bundesliga next year. And like you said, Pat, we've seen some players have success there. Julian Green's having a phenomenal season and honestly could be moving up to the Bundesliga next year. So it could be a great destination for him to kind of, get his name out there, get some more minutes and develop.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think, best of luck to Matt there and finishing out the season strong, Austin. But I think somebody that still could have a really bright future, and it's kind of great to see, like you said, Julian Green kind of forgotten down there, plying his trade, and has really kind of shown out. So maybe he can have a quicker trajectory, like that. So I guess, shifting gears to Portugal with Reggie Cannon, Austin. So he most recently over the weekend started a 1-0 win, a great crucial shutout. He played the full 90 against Portimonense. So now they're 15th place, 1 point above, I believe the relegation spot. So, yeah, I mean, there was so much pressure, all the struggles that Bovis had, just terrible, goal difference, to be honest, and some pretty drastic score lines there in some moments. But it looks like they're kind of composing themselves when it really matters to survive. But nonetheless, Austin, I think Cannon is already kind of has 1 foot out the door here.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like kind of all year. Not so much from his point of view, but just the way he's played. He's definitely been one of their better performers all year, and it's a team that's just really disappointed. Like you said, Pat, going into the season, they had a lot of high hopes for this team. Some bigger name signings that came in. Also players like Albert Elise from MLS, who's a real difference maker and dynamic player. And, not many players have really found their form this season for them. So it's been a struggle, but I think Reggie's, made the most of it. And I think he's setting himself up for a pretty good offseason this summer. Wouldn't you say, Pat?
Definitely, Austin. There's a lot to talk about there too. Obviously to start with is unfortunate with looks like the Lille situation and what I've been seeing reporting on online. The initial plan was to go over there, maybe join Timo, but the plan unfortunately collapsed with ownership changing, new plans and things like that. So it looks like, Austin, a Serie A team is coming to the running that avoided relegation, Spezia. So kind of more of that bottom team. I'm not sure how to take it. Obviously, I think just leaving the tough situation that Bovis is in now, I think a lot of other players are probably going to be looking out the door as well. Definitely not a place you want to be. But yeah, I was honestly hoping maybe a little bit higher in terms of some of the pedigree of clubs. But nonetheless, Serie A is still a great league to be a part of. You'll get great experience there, especially a team I'm sure that gets bombarded by a lot of the attacks in Serie A. So maybe some good experience from the defensive side. But I don't know. I'm hoping more teams as the season ends here inquire about Reggie.
Yeah. I think the Spezia interest is really, not strange, I guess, but it's really just interesting to me. I think it's a team that he'd need to go to with the mindset of staying 1 year to kind of show that he can make it in Serie A and then look to move next summer. I think it's a team that's not going to be in Serie A for the long term. So if he's comfortable in taking that risk and betting on himself, then go for it. But I just feel like there might be a better move out there for him, later on in the summer. I honestly would like to see him kind of stay in Portugal. I don't know if a top 3 club there in Portugal is really, his destination right now. I think there's several other teams like Rio Ave and Braga that if they had the money to sign them or sign him and, if that was possible, maybe that would be a team that kind of, is a good landing spot for him. But Spezia kind of just gives me a little concern. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely understand your concerns, and I do like those options you listed there just because he's comfortable with the league. Some of those teams do fairly well in Europa and even Champions League, and having that exposure as well. Yeah, I guess I don't mind Serie A. I just hoping for maybe a team closer up to maybe the mid-table. I just don't think he's at a level, and not to get too negative here, but not yet. At least he's not at maybe a top 4 or 5 club in a top 4 or 5 league, if that makes sense. I think he's still kind of knocking on the door there. Needs to take that next jump up for sure. Maybe even in some mid-level clubs in France, in the first division would be interesting to see. Have to do more research on what specific clubs, but I do like the ones you listed, just because the competition's heating up for Reggie. I mean, you have, on the left side now, depending on Anthony and a few others rising, even Reynolds now peeking out with Roma, Yedlin kind of in and out over in Turkey. A lot of other, young players come up the pipeline. So he definitely needs to make this is a really important move, Austin, like you said, for whether a year or two to prove himself or for the long run somewhere. I mean, this is crucial. This is, the clock's ticking here.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he's gonna move this summer. I don't think he stays at Boa Vista another season.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be a smart move for him, to be completely honest. So we'll just have to wait and see. And he's gonna be involved with the USMNT this summer in some capacity. So we'll see what happens there. And maybe, who knows, maybe he does really well this summer in the Nations League or in the Gold Cup and is one of our best players and makes a huge impact, and the team sees him and takes a chance on him, so to speak. So
that's right.
We'll monitor that space. So moving on today, we have Brenden Aaronson. So Brenden started and played 89 minutes midweek in Salzburg's 2-0 win over Rapid Wien. And this was a really important win for Salzburg because this secured them the Austrian title there for the Austrian league in Austria. So so Brenden was able to win his third trophy in a little over 8 months. 2 there at Salzburg and 1 with the Union last year, winning the Supporters Shield. So
yeah, he's on a roll.
Yeah, he's really on a tear, isn't he?
Yeah, all he does is win, Austin, as DJ Khaled would put it. But I mean, Aaronson is just the path he's taking is unreal, and the situation that he had, or has with Salzburg, and obviously Marsh leaving there. But nonetheless, this was such a great time for him. I guess the second half of the season here, and I'm fully expecting great things next year. A full year in the Austrian Bundesliga.
Yeah, and he's honestly looked so good as of late, just full of confidence, really just refining his craft and becoming more of the player that that we were hoping for with him, and he just looks so dangerous on the ball now. Like every time he touches the ball, he's comfortable and looking like 2 steps forward, and I think that really just shows the development he's had moving abroad and succeeding right away. I think I've said this, on our past few shows here, but just getting that confidence from succeeding right away in a new league, I think has really just helped him take his game to the next level. And, it's just giving him that confidence. He's playing so well, and he's so in form right now that it's just fun to watch. I'm excited to watch him this summer. I think we're going to see a lot of positive play from him, and I'm not sure what competition he'll be involved in. I think he'll be involved in this first part, in the Nations League this summer. But I don't know what's going to happen with the Gold Cup, if maybe a few of those players stay on. And, we kind of use that like the Olympics, where we take a younger core of players and really force them to step up and see what they can do against some of those CONCACAF teams that we're going to play. But I just think he's the type of player that if we did do something like that, he should be the one to kind of lean on.
Yeah, I definitely like that as well. It'll be exciting to see him this summer, and how much we've seen him grow with his short time at Salzburg. So, I don't know. I'm curious to see kind of the path, I guess, for club season next year. With I'm not sure if it's already been announced. I could be behind this, but who the incoming coach would be, the relationship there, and kind of the tactics. But I really love just what Salzburg's doing and how quickly he's able to adjust, and maybe we can have other players kind of follow him in this pipeline because in these clutch situations, winning trophies and finals, Europa, Champions League, things like that. I think these are kind of the clubs and other springboards that Americans should be following as well. If you're maybe not getting looked at by a Bayern or Barca or things like that, I think this is such a great club that Aaronson's also paving the way for others. I hope that could potentially go to Salzburg and maybe even jump over to Leipzig.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And you got another Red Bull in the pipeline who's coming up right now at New York Red Bulls, and Caden Clark. And I don't think he'll go to Salzburg. I think he'll go to Leipzig in a year or two. But just seeing him get that opportunity, that's being reported out there right now. And looking at kind of some of the younger players that the Red Bulls have in their system coming up, it's definitely an exciting partnership. We kind of make fun of some of these partnerships and how they kind of dampen the impact of MLS when things are all said and done, with like NYCFC having Man City be a partner club. There's several others out there. I think at the end of the day, it's just giving some players more opportunities. Like you've seen the partnership with FC Dallas and Bayern pay big dividends now for Chris Richards and Justin Che. So I think it's not a bad thing if it's well orchestrated. So I guess that's what I'm getting at.
I agree with all those points. And I guess heading to our last player here, and that's the forward, Jordan Siebatcheu. Talk about winning the Swiss League for the young boys. So, yeah, unfortunately, he wasn't in the game day roster this past weekend, but he was involved in the previous game there, I believe, during the midweek there. But all in all, Siebatcheu has had a fantastic season, a great showing on loan there. 15 goals, 4 assists, I think, in 43 appearances there. So, and I believe 2 or 3 of those came in the Europa League. So having that exposure in the Europa League, winning trophies, dominating at the top there. Obviously, you could argue the Swiss League really only has maybe 2 or 3 teams that we all know, maybe from FIFA or other competitions, right? In Europa Champions League qualifiers. But nonetheless, just a great environment to be in, I think. Getting game time is what you need for our attackers and forwards. So just kind of an interesting situation, Austin, to watch. His contract expires June 30th, so a little over a month from now. And in the clause with Stade Rennais, there is that potential option to buy at the end of the loan. And I know those have been heavy rumors there in linking, and honestly, I don't think that's a bad move at all. Obviously, I'd like to see him continue to progress, but certainly maybe for the next 2 or 3 years, and he's putting in more goals, and whether it's Champions League qualifiers or Europa League, I think that's just great exposure.
Yeah, I agree with you, Pat. I think this is a good place for him right now. He got good minutes this season, and some of that came from some injuries that occurred. But in those moments where he was given an opportunity, he stepped up. And I just think looking at that Stade Rennais team going back there, it's going to be a little cluttered at the moment. And I don't feel comfortable with that. Again, kind of like you said earlier, when looking at Reggie Cannon and Ligue 1, I'm just not familiar enough with the league to really see where there's some teams that need a striker for next season. So with that being said, I think staying in the Swiss League would be great for him right now. I think looking forward in his career, and it really depends on how he develops. He's still 24, so he's got some years to kind of hone his skills a little bit more. But I wouldn't be surprised if after the 2022 World Cup, he's someone that comes home and plays in MLS. I think the Swiss League is on par with MLS. Obviously, playing for young boys will help him play in Europe and play in the Champions League or Europa League. But I personally wouldn't be shocked if in the near future he made kind of a move to MLS. But I guess we'll have to see. Yeah,
it's interesting. I think just the quick thing I was going to mention as well, just in career trajectory, ideal would be, honestly, maybe just signing with young boys 2 or 3 years, 26 to 27. That's kind of prime. You could really jump up and make another maybe move to a little bit higher up of a league, maybe a top 4 or 5 team in a, maybe not a Bundesliga per se, but I think you could still get a few good years there, and then maybe shift over to MLS would be ideal, perfect, optimal. But I do like that, if the options come to it, MLS. I mean, I think besides the European exposure that some of these leagues have, I think the MLS is on par or better than some of them overall, top to bottom. But I think Jordan is just one of those players that could come off the bench, make a huge impact. It'd be interesting to see with all the the competitions going, the split teams, where he'll potentially end up. But somebody, I think that you just need that goal poacher and somebody maybe to come in the last 20 minutes or so, run around like a madman, right spot in the right time, and just hit one in clutch situations. And obviously being part of winning trophies and things like that is definitely, I think, important just for the mentality. I don't think he'll ever be maybe a
first choice striker,
right? First choice striker, but somebody I think that will kind of always be in and out.
Yeah, I think so too. Personally, I think he's an okay striker, an okay option for us, but I don't foresee him really, making the full first team USMNT roster, in the long-term future.
Sure.
I just think we're going to have too many options at forward and in some of those attacker positions that we can use as strikers to really, play a significant role going forward. But I've been wrong in the past, and I wouldn't be, opposed to being wrong in this scenario. So, yeah, I think with that, Pat, we're done with talking about Jordan for today. So now let's head over to quick kicks.
All right, everybody. I think you know what time it is. I don't really have the best watch, but I think my co-host Austin certainly does.
It's quick kicks time.
So you could test Dwayne Miller. It's Altidore over the wall, and that one is in! Josie Altidore from a long way out. The opening goal for the United States.
So to start off quick kicks today, we have Josh Sargent. So Josh started and played 90 minutes in Werder Bremen's 2-0 loss to Augsburg this weekend. And with this loss, Bremen are now in the relegation playoff position. So back there from last year. And Florian Kohfeldt was fired. So that's the Werder Bremen ex-coach now. And so we'll have to see how that kind of plays out with Bremen's end of the season here, and also what that means for Josh Sargent. But yeah, things are, getting shooken up in Bremen.
Here's my reaction. But I guess moving over to Italy with Weston McKennie, Austin. So really, really big win for them against Inter Milan. McKennie subbed on in the 58th minute in a 3-2 win. Yeah,
it was good for them. They still don't control their own destiny going into the final weekend, which sucks. But yeah, kind of is the byproduct of not playing so well. So yeah, now we're going over to Germany. We have Gio Reyna. So Gio midweek played the final few minutes for Dortmund in their big 4-1, I think, DFB Pokal win over Leipzig. So congrats to them for winning the trophy there. And we got to see a few pictures of Gio with the trophy and celebrating with some of those players there at Dortmund. And yeah, really cool to see. First time we've had a player win that trophy since, Christian Pulisic won it back in, I believe, 2017. So definitely a cool experience. And then this weekend, he followed it up by starting and playing 76 minutes in Dortmund's 3-1 win over Mainz. So, good to see him getting on the pitch still. And yeah, he's over 30 appearances now in the Bundesliga this season. So, that's a pretty good tally for an 18-year-old.
Love to see it, man. I guess the DFB Pokal is the YAA trophy. But
that's right.
Yeah, heading over to Spain with Serginho Dest. So he subbed on in the 82nd minute in a 3-3 draw against Levante and Barcelona, man. Another situation that's just tough.
Yeah, not great, but they got a brighter outlook on the future now with their new president. So we'll see how that kind of shakes out this summer.
That's true.
And going over to England, we have Daryl Dike. So unfortunately, well, I should say Daryl. It was good to see Daryl start and play 88 minutes, but unfortunately, Barnsley lost to Swansea in this first round playoff game, 1-0. So Barnsley's going to have to do some good work in the second leg to go to the promotion playoff final over there in the championship. But nonetheless, good to see him playing in the playoffs. He's talked so much about it. So we're hoping for better things in round 2.
Playoffs. but heading over to Belgium, Austin, or I guess we're sticking with the playoffs with Mark McKenzie. Got a rare start and played the full 90 this past Saturday with Genk defeated Anderlecht, which is crucial in the 2-1 win. So I think they're 2 points behind Bruges now in the playoff standings. I think 3 straight wins in the playoffs, and yeah, they're knocking on the door there. Yeah,
that's good to hear. And going back to Germany, we have Joe Scally. So Joe scored his very first goal over in Germany this weekend, playing for Gladbach 2 in their game. So, congrats to Joe. We're expecting to see him more next year and hopefully with that first team there in Germany.
That's awesome, Austin. That's great to see. And heading over to the English Championship with Cameron Carter-Vickers, Austin, in Bournemouth. So he started the match, played the full 90. And a pretty crucial 1-0 win against Brentford. So it'll be interesting to see. Keep your eyes on that game too.
Yeah, one American off to a good start there in those playoff
That's right.
playoffs for the championship. So pretty cool. And going back to Germany, we have Justin Che, who started and played 90 minutes again for Bayern 2 in a big 2-2 draw with their fierce rivals there, 1860 Munich. So kind of an interesting little rivalry between Bayern's 2 team and their longtime old rivals in the same city. So kind of a cool game to be involved in.
I like it. Always good to have that rivalry. And then heading over to the Netherlands with Heracles and Luca de la Torre. So he started the match and played 92 minutes in a 1-1 draw against Feyenoord.
Yeah, and going back to Austria, we have Taylor Booth and Brendan Servania. So both started this game for SKN St. Polten, and Booth played 73 minutes with Servania playing all 90, and that was in a 2-1 loss to Austria Wien. And that's all for episode today, guys. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel down below.
Don't forget to check out our social media, Austin, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. The content is there, especially as the season's winding down. More victories here. Just great stuff to report on. That's true. And this episode is available in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. So check us out there, leave a review, and let us know what you think. So, Pat, it's again, trophy season for our YAAs. So we got a few more on the horizon. We do, Austin, to close it out. And then we got a lot of exciting competitions, Nations League, some friendlies, Gold Cup, things like that. So just a lot to look forward to. And I think we'll be, hopefully changing that quick kicks video from Altidore to, somebody else scoring a banger soon. Yeah, that'd be nice. We should look into that here in the near future. But I think that only leaves one thing left to be said, Pat, and that is one day we will win the World Cup.